Alright YouTube, I'm back. This is the rifles now, after going over with 220 grit all over the gun. You can see here it's a lot smoother now, a lot better working surface to paint on. But again, I'm going to go over it again with a 400 grit sandpaper. The 400 grit sandpaper. And it's going to be the same process. I'm going to fold it, and then I'm just going to go over the entire gun. And then again, with the crevices here, I'm trying not to go too much into them. So with the 220, I just kind of lightly did it just to get some of the chippings off from the 80 grit. And again, I'll do that again with the 400, but not a lot, because I don't want to change the actual depth or size of these holes or spaces, because the metal parts of the gun have to fit back in, and I don't want any movement. So I'm going to Alright YouTube, so I'm back. I've just finished staining the entire rifle down with 80 grit, 220 grit, and then 400 grit. And again, this is what you're left with. And basically it's extremely smooth after the 400 grit sandpaper. However, you can feel somewhat of a texture, part of that's the dust, which I will wipe off with a terry cloth after the fact before painting. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the rifle to the side, being it's done. We sanded all on the inside here, we sand on the inside here, all sides, excluding the buttstock, like I said, because with the buttstock, you don't want to sand anything here, you don't want to remove any material, being that when the butt plate gets put back on, you want to make sure it's a flush fit, you don't want anything changed on that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the top of the stock, and we're going to repeat the process. I'm going to repeat the process, which again, you're going to use the 80 grit sandpaper to clear off any of the lacquer left. After that, following up with a 220 and then a 400. Also, before I sign off, I will say, and I've voiced this again before in my last video, with this piece here, you want to be extremely careful, because it is very delicate and it's very easy to break. So, again, when you're on the outside of it, you want to go with the grain, and the green is going up, so I'll go from this end down to clear off any of the paint. And then this is a good trick, I guess you could say, is use your pointing finger to sand it. And you do want to get the metal. You do want to get those sanded up. Reason for that is because when you paint, they will be painted as well, and you want them to accept the paint. So you want to make sure you get all that as well. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sand this. When I'm done with the 80, I'm going to go with the 220 and then the 400. And after that, I'll show you how everything looks as far as the wood pieces, and then we'll go to the metal. Alright YouTube, so I'm back and I'm finished with this piece. As you can see, the color has changed now. The lacquer is completely gone. Again, I sanded this with 80 grit, then I went back over it with 220 and then 400. And this is basically what you're going to be left with. You are going to notice some scrapes on the black steel caps, and that's okay, because that's what you want. You want them to be able to accept the paint. And then also here's the rifle. As again, same process, 80 grit, then 220, then 400. Both of these are extremely smooth, but it is just enough where you can feel some roughness, I guess you say. I mean, it's smooth. I mean, it's super smooth, but it's enough where it'll accept paint, is what I'm trying to say. So these are both done, and they're ready for paint. So all I'm now waiting on is the paint to come, which should be here today on Monday. If it gets here in the next hour or so, I'll do another video with the paint process. But now, our next step is going to be to touch up the steel pieces. Now, the dovetails I haven't touched, so as you can see, these are still completely black. So what I'll do actually is I will use the 220 first on these, on the outside and as well as the inside, and then the 400. And this is just to get these a little roughed up, so when I go to paint them, the paint will be accepted. As far as the barrel and the cleaning rod, these have already been done. You can see I don't know if you guys can actually see that, but the cleaning rod is actually silver or stainless, and it's exactly where it needs to be for paint. I just like to go over things again, just to have it 100% and ready to go. I don't want to have any issues of any paint not sticking and coming off. So we're just going to go over everything again. Again, with the barrel, this here is the 220 grit, and all we're doing with the barrel is fold it again, tail off the 220, and then just go up and down the barrel. Now again, this has already been done as well, so you can already see it's got the silver hue as well in color, or the stainless color. So I'm just going to go over this real quick, real light, just to make sure I've got everything off. And then once we're done, I'll be wiping it down with the terry cloth, because this has been cleaned with Dawn, and it's got no grease on it, so it's good to go. It's just, I just want to sand it again just to be safe. So again, we're just going to go up and down on the gun here. And as you can see, nothing's really even coming off, because this gun's ready to go. It's ready to be painted. It's not. It's been taken down all the way to the base metal, and what's left in the black is just from these grooves that are in this gun, where it's like little ring grooves all the way up, and you just can't get in those crevices. There's no way. So we're just going to go up and down this again. The D-rings, I did originally say in my last video I was going to leave those black, but I'm actually not. I'm actually going to, or not the D-rings, the connecting rings. I don't know what you really would call them. I'm actually going to paint these. Have to paint. You don't have to have all the black off of it. It doesn't matter. Just as long as there's scratch marks in the metal to help with the paint, and to help absorb the paint when it gets put on. Also, another note, in case some of you guys are wondering how am I putting dovetails on the gun, if you noticed here, this plate, this is actually where the rear sight was. The way it works is the rear sight actually can be popped out with a metal tap, and you just pop out the 2 pins, and then you have this rail, and 1" 3/8 dovetails fit perfectly. So that's where I got these from. And again, I got these at Amazon, and the reason I picked these was because they have these this tripod piece in the back here, so you can still acquire the front sight, which is pretty nice. Again, if you go say hunting, or you have to take a shot that's something that's close range where your scope may not be able to acquisition the target, you can use those rear sight posts on that sight and acquire your target much easier, versus just trying to take a freehand shot, which I really like. I mean, I'm hoping to take this gun out for range use, possibly hunting. So, I don't want to not have that option if I needed it to acquire a target up close. So that's basically why I'm actually picking those dovetails for my scope. As far as the scope, I have not gotten a scope yet for it. I plan on it's going to be mounted up front, closer to the middle of the gun. I will be putting a scout scope on it. If any of you guys have any opinions on what scout scope to choose, please post, leave any comments. I really like the Leopold's. Personally, I don't have any, but I do know some people that do have them, and they are really nice. So I thought either the Leopold Scout Scope or possibly a Nikon, but I don't know if Nikon even makes a scope, a Scout Scope. So it kind of just depends on that. But I've been looking at the Leopolds. They look really nice, and so that's possibly what I'm going to go with. As far as if I'm going to paint the scope once I receive it, I may or may not. I'm not really sure yet. I have to get to that bridge before I cross it. So that's basically on this guy. I mean, I don't really have to do anything else. He's pretty much ready for paint. Like I said, you can tell nothing's really coming off. There's a little bit of white there, from taking some of the paint, but that's about it. I mean, it's pretty much ready to go and get painted. Again, I left the breech, the lower breech, all black, and the reason for that is because I don't want any paint in here to obstruct the bolt. So this will actually stay black, but the outside of the breech won't. It'll actually be all OD green. So that note, I'm gonna sign off for a second. I'm going to retouch up on these metal pieces that are in the bag here, and then I'll put everything out on the table and show you guys how it all looks. And the next video will be the painting. Alright guys.